You made it another one. Congratulations. You know, it's called survival. Russ Gibb jumping up and down at random. My guest today is a guy that calls himself a New Age Patriot. Probably some guy that doesn't want to pay taxes or something. Bruce Cain. We're going to find out what a New Age Patriot is all about. I don't know. I want to see. Probably has a beard and wears bell-bottoms. Well, we'll find out. Life goes on. Talk about being prejudiced. What are you going to do? You know, you look like a hippie. Maybe not. We'll see him in a minute. Hang in there. Hey, if you're into hardware stores, and if you're not, you should be, Hance's Ace's Hardware Store. I mean, boy, you can get hammers and saws, and you can do all kind of damage around your house. That's why I usually call up carpenters and plumbers and have them finally do it. I start to do the work, and I mess up. Hance's Ace's Hardware Store on Warren Avenue. Check them out. Russ Gibb sent you. I'll be right back as we talk to Bruce Cain. That's the opposite of Cain and Abel. We'll find out about him. Don't go away. My guest today is Bruce Cain. He calls himself a New Age Patriot. What is a New Age Patriot? Well, you hang in there and we're going to find out in just a minute. A New Age Patriot probably wants to dump something in the Detroit River. Life goes on. Now, if you've been wondering what I've been thinking about the new McCarthyism of the left. It's called the word racism. Poor Andy Rooney on CBS gets, suspended because he makes some comments. Whatever happened to freedom of speech in this country? You know, my liberal pals are all for their freedom to say anything they want, but let it be the opposite, and they shout them down, they scream, and they start campaigns. But I was pleased to read that CBS got overwhelming response in favor of Mr. Rooney and saying, let the guy say what he has to say. You know, where did we get off in this society? You know, for years and years, my liberal pals would holler about McCarthy. You know, McCarthy did this, and oh, you can't say this. Where's Ed Murrow now that we need him with this new McCarthyism of the left, whereby if you dare say the word racism, if you dare criticize a black, many political, professional blacks immediately holler racism if it happens to be critical of the black experience. We also get that with the homosexual community now. You know, if you dare say anything, bingo. Well, I think we better get back on the fact that people should have the right to speak. And that includes this guy Duke down in, wherever he is, Louisiana, this Klan guy. If you believe in freedom, you believe in it all the way. And if you believe in freedom of speech, then by God, let's have it. But we can't do it anymore because the media and the folks get all nervous about, oh my goodness, we're going to offend somebody. Listen, when you get up in the morning, you're going to offend somebody. Think of that poor chicken that never had its baby because you munched down on its egg. Life goes on. Well, those are my opinions. If you disagree, Vox Pop, voice of the people, come on the show. That's Latin if you didn't, of course in school today they don't even teach Latin anymore, do they? Didn't think so. Advanced studies of Mickey Mouseism, whatever that is. Anyway, come on the show, carry on outrageously, and you can be a guest. Why not? Your opinion is just as good as mine. By the way, did you see me on Bill Bonds the other night? You didn't? I'll have to show you on Sunday night. Hang in. Hey, I'll be back. Don't go away. We're going to talk to Bruce Cain, jumping up and down, about the new patriotism. Or he claims he's a patriot. What is a patriot? Probably some communist guy. Russ Gibb. What's a patriot?
You're speaking of the New Age Patriot. That's just a newsletter that I started putting out about 6 months ago. And New Age Patriot's just a name. It's really just a name. I had to have a name to set up a business, so I picked up.
Oh, it's a business? Well, your name is Bruce Cain.
Right.
And what's your business?
Well, the New Age Patriot is a newsletter, but you have to have a DBA in order to have a business. So
what's a DBA? Something name or something? Are you a lawyer?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, now that we're on common ground.
Okay. Now, New Age Patriot is just the name of our newsletter. And the newsletter right now is primarily focused on the drug issue.
Oh, drugs?
specifically.
I mean, we're talking about illegal drugs.
Yeah, we're talking about legalizing drugs.
Oh, you want to legalize drugs?
Yeah. Essentially, what's been going on in this country over the last 60, 70 years has just been a lot of propaganda, and whether it's been the whiskey for the Irish or the opium for the Chinese, or most recently the emphasis on crack cocaine, it's all really quite a myth. And the problem with all the drug wars that we've had is that they're not going to work. They haven't worked. And there are very many reasons why it's not going to happen. One of the things is that, for instance, all the cocaine that comes in this country right now is grown on about 750 square miles of South American land.
In Colombia?
In Colombia, Bolivia, Peru, all the Andean nations. And, but the thing most people don't recognize is that there's 2.5 million square miles of available land to grow that coca. So even if you eradicated the 750 square miles now, there's just almost an infinite amount of land to grow that coca on. In addition to that, I mean, cocaine, whether it's in its pure form or in its derivative form of crack, which is nothing more than baking soda and cocaine mixed together.
That's what crack is?
That's all crack is. And there's a lot of mythology about crack cocaine anyway, because crack is simply you take cocaine and you take baking soda and some water and you cook it up and it comes in these little crack balls.
Now, how do you take those? You swallow them?
You smoke them.
Oh, you smoke them?
And the problem is, now they say that, you know, crack is, you know, the new menace to society.
Right.
It's so addictive. Well, it might be more addictive just in the sense that it's much cheaper to buy initially, okay, because it's just much cheaper to buy because there's really not much there. And because you smoke it and take it into your lungs, the effect is much faster, much more pronounced, but it's also much more short-lived. If you do crack cocaine, you might keep you up for 10, 20 minutes, and then you're going to want some more.
I see.
But the thing is, what's very interesting is that when Bush made his big drug speech back in September, one of the things he said is that, you know, we have a crack epidemic and that it's actually, the use of crack abusers have actually gone up. But if you actually look at the National Institute of Drug Administration, if you look at their study and the exact statistics that he brought out, what you'll find is that of the 28 million casual users of cocaine, no, I'm sorry, it's 8 million. There are only 8 million casual users of cocaine. Less than 800,000 of those use it any more than once a week, okay? So what you're really talking about is only 10% of those people that use cocaine use it more than once a week, and we're defining more than once a week as being abuse of a drug. But it's very interesting that there are 140 million Americans that drink alcohol in this country, and 18 million of those people are considered alcoholics. So with cocaine, we've got roughly 10% of the using population may have a problem, and we compare it to alcohol, where actually 13% of those that use alcohol have problems of substance abuse. And so Bush was very careful in the statistics he used on that speech because, you know, 800,000 people is not, you know, when you have a country of 260 million people or more, 800,000 is hardly indicative of abuse. And the other thing that he, in our Good Drug Czar Bennett, is very careful of not mentioning is the fact that we have over 250,000 people each year that die from tobacco-related diseases. We have between 100,000 and 200,000 people that die of alcohol-related deaths and diseases. And all the illegal drugs combined kill less than 6,000 people a year.
The illegal drugs?
Illegal drugs. And we're talking deaths from homicide, from overdose, the whole shot. Only 8,000 a year. What we really think is happening is with glasnost and perestroika coming in, there's always been, since the Cold War, a national security doctrine in this nation. And it's been used for years to kind of focus people's attention from the real issues in this country, like unemployment, lack of health care. If you compare this country to many other industrialized countries as far as child mortality rates, as far as availability of health care, we've got 35 million people in this country that have absolutely no access to medical care. So what we really think is that the drug war is the new national security doctrine. It's something that's being used to focus our attention away.
Now, I've been good up until now. I've let you mouth off. And I got to tell you, I've heard some baloney, but you're really throwing. First of all, how do you know these figures? Now, I've been a good boy. I let you get your thing out. I want to tell you, what are you talking about? Where do you pull these figures out? You're trying to tell me there are boys sitting down in Washington figuring out this? You've got a conspiracy, but you smoke dope?
No.
Have you ever?
No, but I do.
Now, wait a minute. And never even had a joint?
Oh, whoa, in my life?
Yeah.
Oh, I've done many drugs in my life.
That's what I thought. I rest my case.
But the only drug I do now is alcohol. It's my favorite.
Oh, are you an alcoholic?
No, I'm a very casual user of alcohol. Probably just like you.
Yeah, I take a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Well, so there you are, and this is what the new
statistics. You said about the statistics.
Yeah,
there's a vast amount of data. I've done.
Data, beta, meta. Yeah, come on, I can give you figures to prove anything.
Well, I'm.
Figures lie and liars figure or something. I've heard that once. How to Lie with Figures was a big book back in the 50s. I had to get you a copy. You'll enjoy. I can't believe what you're mouthing off here.
Well, I mean,
you're acting like this is no big deal. Why are they shooting one another? Why is the black community all going nuts because there seems to be an epidemic?
Okay.
You going to show me figures?
Yeah, well,
whoa, wait, you got Coke here.
This is not what you think it is.
How do I know? How do I know?
You can put some on your tongue if it's numb or busted.
Is that it?
Yeah. This is
You run around with bags like
this
that?
is actually this confectioner's sugar.
I'd hate to get stopped with you in the car.
Sugar. Really? This is a kilogram of.
What do you do for a
sugar.
real living? I mean, come on.
I'm an information systems specialist.
So you're an educated man.
Very educated.
You're probably one of those hackers, too.
That's true.
Oh my God, we've got a criminal on the list. No, seriously, go ahead. Tell me what you got.
Okay.
What is it?
You're wondering why everybody's killing each other, right? That was
Yeah.
the question you asked.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got here a kilogram. This is 1,000 grams or 2.2 pounds of, in this case, sugar. But this is what a kilogram of cocaine would look like. Now, 1,000 grams cost $2 a gram. So this is worth about, to manufacture this would cost you about $2,000. By the time this bag is split up into grams of cocaine and sold on the street, or even further put into crack cocaine, which is even less concentrated, this bag would end up selling for between $100,000 and $200,000. Now, for anybody that wants to do the math here, that's a 5,000 to 10,000% profit margin.
All right, you're going to give me the prohibition argument, right?
Well, no, what I'm going to tell you is that in a lot of studies, even the National Institute of Drug Abuse, there's a study in California right now, and even what they've found is that the violence that is associated with cocaine is really related to the drug policy. It's not related to the use of the drugs. In other words, if you do cocaine, the reason you're going to kill somebody
is because of the cost.
Is because you need the money, or even more because you're somebody that is in the drug trade, and somebody else on your block is trying to take your business.
All right.
And you're talking about people making
thousands
thousands of dollars a week where they don't really have any other economic opportunities.
Why should they work at McDonald's?
Well, exactly. They're just being good capitalists.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. But we're still talking about the addictive. Talk to me about addictive drugs.
Okay. Alcohol is more addictive, as I just told you, than cocaine. Okay.
You told me that.
Okay. Well,
But you're a druggie. Admit it.
well, I'm not.
Well, you used to be.
I really don't even think people should do drugs, and I'm not an advocate of drug abuse.
Okay.
What I'm saying, though, is that...
Do I owe you an apology?
No. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The drug problem we have in this country is due to drug policy. If we were to legalize drugs and regulate them and emphasize educating our children as to the deleterious effects of these drugs...
We tried it with alcohol, and every high school jock is, well, not everyone, but a good percentage of the high school kids today learn by experience. They go out and they get drunk a few times, drive the porcelain truck, and Gurphy, or whatever they call it today, and before long, they learn that they shouldn't abuse alcohol because it makes you sick.
Exactly right.
So you're saying that, but is that going to happen with drugs?
I think so. I think what we fail to recognize is that where you see your most pronounced addictive behavior are in urban...
And psychological, people that have psychological problems to begin with.
Yeah, and you're not going to get rid of that. You're not going to get rid of it.
So we're going to have to live with it, you're saying.
And hopefully what we need to do is recognize a problem. If it's a friend of ours that's having a problem, or if it's ourselves, we need to be educated enough to recognize when either ourselves or somebody else is falling into an abusive pattern.
I eat too many chocolate brownies. That's an addiction to sugar. I'm not going to change. I'm afraid that if you make this really easy, obtainable to anybody, that they're going to get into that whole syndrome. Look, what's the name of your magazine? People want to read. We're just about out of time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
New Age Patriot.
Where do they call you? If people want, seriously, I was joshing with you a little bit. I think there's a good argument to be had here. We ought to be talking about it, more than just this once.
Sure.
But what phone number do they? It's the New Age Patriot. What's the phone number?
563-3192, and that's kind of our answering
Okay,
service.
and then if they want to get your little magazine, you can call, and there's a price on it, though, isn't it?
$5 for 4 issues.
For 4 issues.
And we try to get it out like every second.
Okay, and you'll give some arguments of why you think. More and more people are asking the question, maybe we should legalize it. I don't know whether we should or we shouldn't. All I know is that I saw a TV special on this park in Amsterdam where they legalized drugs. And at first it was fine. Everybody was in there having a good time. And then before long, they started to murder one another, they degrading, the whole thing gets ad absurdum. Because you have these personalities that are playing around with it, there's no constraint on them, you see? And that's when it starts getting crazy. And then if little kids can get a hold of it, they can get a hold of booze. We have to try and lock it away, Well, we want to talk a lot about this.
Yeah.
I mean, you have some points.
We're out of time?
Yeah.
Darn.
You want to buy an hour from me. I'll sell you an hour of the show, and you can mouth off and jump up and down anything you want.
I was going to say...
how old were you when you started to take drugs?
14.
You were 14. That's about an age. That's when most kids experiment. Yeah. People are laughing, but that's true.
And I survived.
Well, obviously you got an education.
Yeah.
But your eyes are sort of funny. Russ Gibb, putting on poor Bruce Cain. But we'll talk. I'll have you back. So
I'd be glad to come back.
Back down. Russ Gibb, jumping up and down. I'll be back. To see if his nose, he didn't, well, we'll see about that some other time. We're going to invite him back. We got to talk to this guy, Bruce Cain, New Age Patriot. You may want to call the number we gave you. Hey, for those who have time to view the show, I'd like to say thank you. For those who have time to drop me a card or a letter, I'd like to say thank you. I'd like to say thank you for Bruce Cain for allowing me to give him the business. Russ Gibb, at random.